What's going on, Grizzlies fans? It is October 11th. That means it is the very last home preseason game. I'm Kelcey. That's Mike, and we have got your game day update. The Grizzlies take on the Detroit Pistons tonight at 7 o'clock here at FedExForum. Mike, we start each one. We got a little injury report update. It looks like we may have kind of that spark to the team back. Dylan may be back. He's questionable right now.
Yeah, he's questionable right now. We haven't seen Dylan all preseason because of a thigh situation, but he did go through shoot around this morning. He has been getting his conditioning in. So I think this is the last piece of that starting lineup that we haven't seen. The Grizzlies are coming off of Saturday's loss, in that game where they didn't play anybody, any of their regular rotation guys, with the exception of a couple of guys. But now it looks like tonight you're going to get back the bulk of your guys. Ja will be available. Jaren will be available. Those guys will be back in the lineup. So it's going to be good to see. And hopefully Dylan can get beyond questionable and actually get out there and play, because now with 3 preseason games left, Kelcey, this is the time to start ramping up. In addition, I'll give the Grizzlies rest of their injury report real quick. Zaire Williams is questionable with the thigh situation. So he might be, be sitting out or limited. And out is Chris Dunn, McDermott, and Tilly, guys hadn't played during the season yet. So we won't get to see the number 1 overall pick. Cade Cunningham for the Detroit Pistons has been out with an ankle issue. They're also going to be potentially without Rodney Magruder, who has a hip soreness, so he's questionable. But other than that, I think it's going to be an up and down pace because both of these teams like to get after it.
Yeah, and when you look at the Pistons have only played 1 game. They've got a pretty shortened preseason. They've only got 4 games. This will be their second. They won that one. That was 5 days ago, though. So it's always that kind of thing, it happens in playoffs a lot where you're like waiting around for your opponent. It's always that thing. Are they well rested, or are they going to come out a little rusty? Because the Grizzlies are playing almost every other day now. They're coming off a loss, but like you said, they had 9 guys sit out and they've been going after it at practice. But this is also a Detroit Pistons team that scores by committee. So on the defensive end, the Grizzlies really can't zone in on one person. Like we said, Cade Cunningham is out. In their last game, they had a whole bunch of guys score 19. Jeremy Grant had 19. A couple guys had 13, 14, 16. Josh Jackson, who spent some time in Memphis just a couple seasons ago, he had 16 points. The 2 Canadians who have had 14 points and 6 assists, and Kelly Olynyk and Corey Joseph. But this team only had 4 points in the fast break, and that's where I think the Grizzlies can take advantage of the slow pace that Detroit plays with.
Yeah, and they're trying to get back to finding their identity. I mean, you look at that one game that they played, they want to use their youth and athleticism to get up and down. But Dwayne Casey is such a defensive-minded coach that he wants to try to control the tempo on the defensive end as much as get up and down on the offensive end. So they're a team that's really trying to find their way. The Grizzlies, on the other hand, we know what they love to do. I mean, they're going to get up, they're going to jack threes, they're going to get in transition as much as possible. But here's the thing, already through their first 3 preseason games, they're leading the NBA in offensive rebounds. So they're creating second chance opportunities with 14.3 offensive rebounds a game. And they're also tied for the NBA lead so far in the preseason in block shots. So they're creating deflections, they're getting block shots, they're getting steals to get out in transition. So their defense generates their offense. But now that you see these guys coming back together, what are some things that you want to see in tonight's game in terms of taking that next step to get ready for next Wednesday's season opener?
I always look at the starting lineup. So I think I'm going to take a little whoop on this one, and I'm going to look at the bench. And because this matchup with the Pistons, this team had 68 bench points in their first preseason game. They rely a lot on that second unit. So I think it's going to be the starters versus the starters tonight, because the injury report is not super long for either team. And then it's going to be which bench is able to step up. So that's Kyle Anderson, that's Tillman, Xavier Tillman, who led in rebounds and assists, I think, in the last game. It's going to be, Desmond Bane, D'Anthony Melton. We're not quite sure what the lineup is at this point when we're recording, but one of them, Desmond, has led in points the last 2 games. So I think it's going to be which bench is going to step up, take that, to heart, put that chip on their shoulder and be like, no, we're not losing this game to the other bench, because Detroit, they may not have like the star. They don't have like a Kawhi Leonard, a John Morant. But like I said, they score by committee, and that goes all the way down, probably 9 or 10 guys. So defense can't stop. The Grizzlies can't get down when the bench crew goes in. And I think, Tyus, even, I didn't even mention him. They got to just have that in their heart and go out today. And I think it's going to be the battle of the benches. I really do.
That's a great point. That's a great point. And to your point, two of the bench guys, the bench unit guys, even though the starting lineup has been adjusted a little bit in the last couple of games, but DeAnthony Melton is typically a bench guy. He spoke today after shoot around. Kyle Anderson, who's become a bench guy, spoke after shoot around. And they talked about solidifying that second unit because this team is so deep. This is not just a starting five for the Grizzlies. Even the guys that come off the bench, they're just continuing them. They consider themselves extended starters. That's it, right? They just come in the game a little bit after the regular starters, but they play like starters, and that's going to be key. So I'm looking forward to that bench matchup and seeing the Grizzlies and Taylor Jenkins lock in as he can right now to a 9, 10, maybe 11-man rotation.
All right. Is there anything you are most looking forward to when it comes to tonight's game?
The thing I'm looking most forward to is seeing hopefully Dylan can elevate from questionable to playing tonight. And I want to see, because he's the heart and soul of the swagger, right? He's the heart and soul of the defense and making sure guys are playing with intensity. Ja Morant took that over in the first couple of games of the preseason, but now you have Dylan having a chance to really reinsert himself into that. So that's my guy that I'm looking forward to. Who are you looking forward to?
And plus, that way we could have all 4 Canadians active playing on Canadian Thanksgiving today.
Yes, happy
The
Thanksgiving.
most important.
Happy Canadian Thanksgiving Day to our unique and special Canadian on our Grind City Media staff. So this is a game for you. Hopefully you can enjoy that one.
Exactly. All right. So the game tips off at 7 o'clock tonight. It's at FedExForum, like I said, 901-888-HOOP if you're still looking for single game tickets to join us. The game will be broadcasted on Valley Sports Southeast. It will be also on the radio, 92.9 ESPN Radio. And then, of course, you can follow along on our social channels at MemGrizz. We'll take you from, again, walking in the tunnel. We'll get you the fits to post game. We got you guys all covered. So stay tuned on all of those channels. And it's the last one at home. So let's get it done.
Go Grizz.